This is Jojo Goes to IC, the show where every week I go to BYU's International Cinema and watch 1 to 3 films and give you guys my recommendations. Anyway, this week I was out of town. I was at a conference in Florida, so instead of going to IC, I brought some DVDs along and I watched some movies, so I'm going to talk about those. The first film I saw this week was Ingmar Bergman's Persona. This movie is crazy. You know how, like, sometimes there's a film it's so, like, singular, like, there's nothing like it. This is one of those films. It's just wildly different from everything else. It's an art house film. This film came out after Seventh Seal, which is already one of the best films ever made, and this one is as well, and it might even be better. I mean, they're different, so, who's to say, but the film is about an actress who suddenly stops talking, and her nurse, who's trying to get her to speak, they go out into the countryside to this cottage, and it's about everything that sort of happens there. And from the very beginning of the film, it's reminding you that it is a film. The very first shot is a shot from inside the film projector as it's starting up. There's this part during the middle of the film where the film breaks the fourth wall and it's like the film reel is burning, it's on fire. There's this actually funny anecdote. Apparently, when the film came out initially, projectionists thought that the film really was on fire, like it was so real to that experience. So they were out there in the audience watching, and then they had to run back to the projector to check on it and were surprised when it wasn't actually on fire. It was just the movie. And then at the end of the film, it also ends inside the projector. So throughout the film, it's reminding you that it is indeed a film. I think this affects your, how you think about the movie, because there's this question that maybe the nurse and the actress are the same person and they're just different split personalities, or a persona, an alias, just a mask that the other is wearing. But then throughout the film, we're reminded, oh, this is a film, so they're not really those people. They're the actresses. And in fact, there's one shot at the end, this is kind of a spoiler, but you get this shot of Bergman on this crane with a camera filming Liv Ullmann, who is one of the actresses, and that's in the film. So you're like at that point you've come to this understanding. You're like, oh, they're the same person, but then it's like, no, they're actresses. They're not really. None of this is real. It's really weird. It's a crazy movie. One that I don't think you can't get everything out of it in the first or second or third viewing. I've seen this film probably 4 times now, maybe, and I'm probably going to have a continued relationship with the film for years to come, just because it's so strange. There's a lot to analyze and think about. So it's really good. I recommend it. The second film I saw this week is called Suture, and this film is also about identity. Vincent Towers murders his father and then is going to try to fake his own death. So he gets his long-lost identical twin brother and puts him in his car and plants a car bomb. It explodes, it goes off, and then Vincent disappears, and his brother Clay gets amnesia and is in the hospital, and they're reconstructing his face, and they believe that he is Vincent and that he may or may not have killed his father. But here's the crazy part about this movie. Here's what's really cool. Vincent is played by Michael Harris, who's a white actor. But Clay, his identical twin brother, is played by Dennis Haysbert, who is a black actor. From the beginning, the film is making us think about identity because there's this sort of disjunction between what we're seeing and what is being told to us. We're told to believe that Dennis Haysbert's character Clay looks like his brother Vincent, but they look nothing alike, and in fact they're different ethnicities. Throughout the film, they're reconstructing his identity because Clay has these memories of that start to resurface of his life, but then he also begins to think that he remembers Vincent's life, his life, and so he starts to become Vincent and become this different identity. I think that it's kind of cool then to realize that his name is Clay, that he can be molded and turned into this different person. Just like Persona, this film's shot in black and white, and I think that also emphasizes this choice to cast a black actor. You can see the contrast more clearly between the color of their skin because, there's less to focus on because it's monochrome. So it's even more jarring and weird. I think watching it back to back with Persona is interesting, so I would recommend doing that as well if you seek this movie out. I think it's very good. I recommend it. Jojo out.